Hello guys, it's Similar here and I'm back at you again with another YouTube video. So first and foremost, before we start the actual video, I want to make a few announcements. Firstly, I have released follower appreciation gifts for all of my followers free on my Patreon. There are 5 gifts that are completely free for all of my followers just to show a little bit of appreciation for you guys. Secondly, I know I've gotten a few requests to do gameplay videos on my YouTube, but I don't really feel like I'm a gameplay simmer. I just don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm quite boring, so I don't think it'll be much content in doing that. So that's why I haven't delved into that really. Maybe in the future, but right now that's just how I feel. So I'm going to stick to tutorials for the most part. Alright, and lastly, today we're going to learn how to make signs for maybe like a building you made in your Sims or a shop, your small business, whatever. But disclaimer, make sure you have a little bit of background in Blender before you try to attempt this tutorial, because I wish I can teach you, but I barely know how to work Blender. So I don't even know what to tell you. Make sure you watch a few videos or something before you watch the tutorial, like how to move around in Blender, how to access different things in Blender, because Blender is hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard sometimes. But anyway, I digress. Let's start with the video. First, what you're going to want to do is open up Sims 4 Studio. So we're going to open up Sims 4 Studio. Once you open up Sims 4 Studio, you're going to go into Object and you're going to toggle on Create 3D Mesh. Then you're going to hit Object. Once you do that, you're going to search up sign. And I always like to use this sign. So this is a sign that we're going to use. Now, what I advise you to do is make a whole folder for whatever you're making. So that's what this folder is, sign tutorial. And just put everything into that folder. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to name this package default. And save it. Alright, once it's open in Sims 4 Studio, we're going to go under the tab that says Meshes. Click on it, and then we're going to go into LOD0. And we're going to export that mesh. We're going to export it into that folder that I strongly recommend you guys make. And we're going to name it Mesh. Once that exports, you're going to now open up Blender. And I use Blender 2.7, but you can also use Blender 4 point whatever you're just good at using. I use Blender 2.7 because that's what I am familiar with. So we're going to open up Blender, and I'm going to delete this box. Once I delete this box, add over to the bottom left, and I'm going to hit text right here. This is going to add the text feature into your blend scene. So then you're going to go down and you're going to go into edit mode. Once you go into edit mode, you can now put whatever your little heart desires. Oops. Yo, am I good or no? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to put Happy New Year. Yo, am I good? Alright, once you do that, as you can see, Blender gives you this lovely font that you're not going to want to use. So I'm going to show you guys how you can change that. Now, what I like to do is I like to go into my Google Chrome and I like to type in the font. Literally, the font. And it'll bring up this website where they have free fonts for download. But they do each have a terms of use which you want to pay attention to. But anyway, once you find your font that you want to use, you're going to hit download. Once you download it, we're going to open up our downloads folder. Open up our downloads folder. It's going to download as a zip file. We're going to open that zip file. And if you're given the option TTF or OTF, you always want to choose OTF because it'll dirt like. But no, seriously, choose OTF, and we're going to put this into that folder that I recommended you guys make. So I'm going to put it here, and this is just to keep up with it. Alright, once you do that, we're going to go back into Blender, and we're going to go over here and go to this tab here. Boom. Once you go there, we're going to go down, and where it says regular, we're going to go to the folder here. It's going to say load a new font from file. We're going to click on that, and we're going to find that font that we just put away. So I put it in this folder, and we're going to open it. And boom, now that font is in Blender. Looks pretty good, right? Alright, now we're done with that. We're going to go into object mode. And now we're going to turn our object into a mesh. And how you do that is right beside object mode is going to say object. You click on that. Go all the way up to the CP top where it says convert to. And we're going to convert to mesh from curve. Boom. Now it is a mesh. Now, the sign right now is really flat. You can have it flat, but it might give you a bit of issues if you put it too close to the wall in game. So what I like to do is make mine a little bit thicker. So how I do that is I go into edit mode. I press A to select my whole entire mesh. And then I hit E to extrude. And this is where you can extrude however much you want. But I'm just going to go down and I'm not going to do much at all. Just like that, right? Alright, now that we've done that, we're going to go into object mode. Now that we're in object mode, up here, you can see how many vertices and faces that we have. And already, this is too much. Especially for a measly little sign that's going to be in your game. The vertices and polys, let me show you, should be very, very low. Now, we might not get ours to be that low, but we need them to be lower than 10,000 and not close to 10,000. So 8,000 faces is too much, and even 5,000 vertices is too much. But we need those vertices and polys to be low. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. We'll do that later. But right now, we're going to go ahead and append our mesh that we downloaded from Sims 4 Studio. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go to File, and we're going to go down to Append. We're going to find where we exported that mesh. We're going to open it, and we're going to go down to Object. We're then going to go into Studio Mesh 0 and append from library. Once you do that, all this stuff is going to come in. Go over here. You do not need double bone shape, and you do not need the rig here. So we're going to delete both of those. Okay, now what we're going to do is take our mesh and kind of size it up and make it directly behind the Sims 4 Studio mesh. So how I do that, I'm just going to make it 90 degrees on the x-axis, and I'm going to bring it over here. And I'm going to shrink it down as well. The sign is going to be inside, so that's why I'm not making it as big. But what you also want to do, you don't want it to be directly on the x-axis. As you can see, we're going to put it a little bit in front of the x-axis, because the x-axis is going to be exactly where the wall is in game, and you do not want it to be inside the wall. You want it to be outside the wall. So that's why we're going to push it further from the x-axis. We're going to now start appending our objects. So what you want to do is you want to select Studio Mesh 0 here, and then you want to go into edit mode. Once you go into edit mode, you hit A to select the mesh, then you hit X, and then you're going to hit delete vertices. And this is going to delete the whole mesh. Now that you've done that, we're going to go back into this window, click text, and then we're going to shift and click Studio Mesh 0. Sims 4 Studio Mesh 0. Once you do that, click on your blend scene and then hit Control J, and you have now joined the mesh. Now your mesh is Studio Mesh 0, and now it is going to be able to be seen in game. I'm going to go into edit mode, right? We're going to make our UV for our mesh. This is how we're going to get the color, whatever color we want it to be. So how we're going to do that is, you see these three lines up here? You're going to grab this, click it, and slide it over. And this is going to open up a whole nother window. Then you're going to go all the way down to the left, and you're going to hit this box here, and we're going to hit UV image editor, and it should look like this. Now we're going to go back to the blend scene, and we're going to go into edit mode. You're then going to select your mesh, and I hit numpad 1 so that it can be directly in front. Alright, now that we did that, what we're going to do is hit U. Now that your mesh is, make sure your mesh is selected. You're going to hit U, and then we're going to hit project from view. And now we have our mesh over here. So what we're going to do, and then you can scale it up and stuff just to make it bigger. Now what we're going to do is go to UV, and we're going to export UV layout. I'm going to name it UV, and we're going to save it in that folder so we can keep up with it. Export UV layout. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take down these edges and these vertices, because no way these edges should be 13K. That is very bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into object mode, go into this window, and we're going to hit this blue wrench, and you're going to want to hit add modifier, and then you're going to want to add the decimate modifier. Once you do that, this ratio scale, we're going to play with it, but keep in mind the lower you get, the less defined your mesh is. So we're just going to go close like this, and I'm just going to go up and down depending on where I want it. And I think 15K would be good enough for me, or 14K. As you see, your mesh still has a good shape and the faces are really low. So we're going to apply that. And as you can see, our vertices are low, our faces are lower, and that's good. That's perfect, right? All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save this mesh, and we're going to save it as sign. We're now going to go into Sims 4 Studio, and we're going to import, stay with me here guys, stay with me. We're going to import these meshes in. Hold on. Oh, it's saying I don't have a UV map. Okay. Let's do a new UV map because it's saying I don't have one. So that just means do a new UV map, and boom. Just like that. Export it. Alright, let's try to import it again. And there we go. It should be better. Just start importing it in. There's a method to this. Just trust the process. So import the mesh into LOD0, LOD1, and LOD2. Then we're going to go back into Blender, and we're going to go here. Scroll all the way down until you see Studio Sims 4 Studio Mesh Tools. And we're going to get 1. We're going to change this cut to 1. We're then going to save as sign 1. Alright, now that we've done that, we're going to then import them again. We're going to import some sign 1 into LOD0, LOD1, and LOD2. Alright, and then we're going to import into the shadow, we're going to import the first one in. Boom. Alright, now that we've done that, go back to LOD0, and we're going to go into textures. This is where we're going to make our texture, but first I want to make sure the texture that we made in Blender fits our mesh pretty good. So I just import it in, and it looks pretty good to me. So now this is when we're going to open up our photo editing software, with mine is GIMP. But of course you can use Photoshop or whatever editing softwares they do have out there. Alright, once it is open, we're going to go into File. We're going to hit Open, and then we're going to open that UV layout that we saved. Alright, once it is open, you can start making whatever color swatches you want. Me personally, I'm just going to do one color swatch, and it's going to be black and yellow. The stars are going to be yellow, and the rest of the sign is going to be black. So what I do, I open a layer, and then I already have yellow selected, and then I start to color the yellow in. Booyah. Wait, okay. Making sure you're not coloring on any of the other letters as well, because it will show up on your sign. Alright, now that we've done that, I'm going to open up another layer, and then I'm going to color the whole UV black, covering all of the UV. And then I'm going to move this layer down, and the stars is going to be on top now. So now we're going to export this, and I'm going to name it done. We're then going to go back into Sims 4 Studio, and we're going to import this this texture that we just made in. Looks good. Make sure you reserve it. As you can see, I got a little yellow on this H here. So let's fix that. Alright, much better. So now that we have that texture in, we can import our swatches. So how I do that is I right click on the box, and then I right click on whatever color I want it to be. So then for the material and the normals and the specular, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to just import blank pictures into there. So I'll have that for download on my Patreon, but we're just going to import blank pictures because we're not going to worry about that in this tutorial. Alright, let's check on our meshes. Our mesh is low, that's good. Texture's good. Now we're going to name our sign. Boom. Alright, and what we're going to do is go to File. We're going to hit Save As. And we're going to save this directly into our game. Save this directly into your mods folder. Alright. Now let's open our game. Yeah, I've done this tutorial so many freaking times, so I'm sorry if I don't sound so enthusiastic right now. But now we're in game, and we're going to find the sign. So here I am trying to search my name, trying to find it. Alright, and here it is right here. Make sure you have bb.move objects on. And yeah, here's my sign. It's good.